When Michael arrived in theaters, it wasn't just another music biopic. It became a global phenomenon, shattered box office records, and reminded the world why Michael Jackson remains one of the most influential entertainers in history. Now, with the film officially crossing $1 billion worldwide, and Lionsgate moving ahead with Michael 2, the next chapter is finally starting to take shape. From the sequel's official confirmation and story details, to Jaafar Jackson's return and the latest release date updates, there's a lot to talk about. So today, let's break down everything we know so far about Michael 2. Michael reaches $1 billion. Before talking about the sequel, we have to talk about what made it possible. Michael didn't just become one of the biggest movies of the year, it made cinema history. The film officially crossed $1 billion at the worldwide box office, becoming the first biopic ever to reach that incredible milestone. It also surpassed Oppenheimer to become the highest-grossing biographical film of all time, overtook Bohemian Rhapsody as the highest-grossing music biopic ever made, and became Lionsgate's biggest movie in studio history. Those achievements prove that audiences around the world were eager to experience Michael Jackson's story on the big screen. More importantly, they gave Lionsgate every reason to continue the franchise. A movie doesn't reach $1 billion without creating a passionate fan base, and that overwhelming success transformed Michael from a single film into a much larger cinematic project. The record-breaking performance also showed that interest in Michael Jackson's legacy remains as strong as ever, setting the perfect foundation for a sequel that can explore the next stage of his extraordinary life. Did you expect Michael to become the first billion-dollar biopic? Which record surprised you the most? And do you think Michael 2 can repeat that success? Michael 2 official announcement. The biggest question after the first movie was simple: would the story continue? Now we finally have the answer. Lionsgate has officially confirmed that Michael 2 is in development. Studio executives revealed that the filmmakers always knew Michael Jackson's life couldn't fit into a single movie. In fact, Lionsgate chairman Adam Fogelson confirmed that approximately 25% to 30% of the sequel has already been filmed during production on the first movie. Director Antoine Fuqua also assembled an early cut running around 4 hours, leaving plenty of material that naturally carries into part 2. That means the sequel isn't beginning from scratch. Development is already moving forward, with a significant amount of footage completed and the creative team actively planning the next chapter. The "His Story Continues" message at the end of the first film wasn't simply an emotional tribute. It was the filmmakers telling audiences that Michael Jackson's story was far from over. Were you expecting the sequel to be officially confirmed this quickly? Did the ending of the first movie already hint at part 2? And are you glad so much footage has already been filmed? Plot details. The first movie focused on Michael Jackson's rise to global superstardom. The sequel is expected to explore what happened after the world already knew his name. Michael 2 will likely move into the dangerous, history, and invincible eras while covering some of the biggest moments of his later career. Fans could finally see the creation of legendary albums, record-breaking world tours, his marriage to Lisa Marie Presley, the opening of Neverland Ranch, and the incredible pressure that came with becoming one of the most famous people on Earth. The sequel is also expected to carefully approach the controversial years of Michael's life. Rather than ignoring those events, many believe the filmmakers will present them through Michael's own perspective while continuing to focus on his artistry, creativity, and personal struggles. This gives the sequel the opportunity to become more emotional, more mature, and even more dramatic than the first film. Which part of Michael's later life are you most excited to see? Should the sequel focus more on his music or his personal life? And what moment absolutely has to be included? Jaafar Jackson returns. One of the biggest reasons fans are excited about Michael 2 is the return of Jaafar Jackson. His performance in the first movie exceeded many expectations. Audiences praised not only how much he looked like Michael Jackson, but also the way he captured his voice, movements, stage presence, and personality. While being Michael's nephew naturally brought authenticity to the role, Jaafar quickly proved that his performance stood on its own. He wasn't simply playing a family member. he fully became Michael on screen. All signs point toward him returning for the sequel, where he'll portray Michael during the more complex years of his career. Those later chapters demand an even deeper emotional performance, as Michael faces worldwide fame, enormous pressure, personal relationships, and some of the biggest challenges of his life. If his first performance impressed audiences, Part 2 may give Jaafar an even greater opportunity to showcase his talent. Did Jaafar Jackson exceed your expectations in the first film? Can you imagine anyone else playing Michael now? And do you think his performance will be even stronger in the sequel? Release date. Now let's answer the question every fan is asking. When will Michael 2 finally arrive? At the moment, Lionsgate hasn't announced an official release date. However, the production updates give us a good idea of the timeline. Since 25% to 30% of the movie has already been filmed, the sequel has a significant head start compared to most major productions. Additional filming is expected once the cast and crew become available, with production likely continuing through late 2026 or into 2027. Based on everything currently known, the most realistic release window appears to be late 2027, or sometime in 2028. Of course, plans can always change, but the important news is that development is actively moving forward. With completed footage already in place, the story planned, and Lionsgate fully committed after the first movie's historic success, it's no longer a question of if Michael 2 will happen. It's simply a matter of when audiences will finally return to theaters. Do you think Michael 2 will arrive in 2027 or 2028? Would you rather wait longer for a better movie? And what are your biggest expectations for the sequel? Michael 2 has all the ingredients to become an even bigger cinematic event than the first film. With a billion-dollar predecessor, an officially confirmed sequel, Jaafar Jackson returning, and the story moving into some of the most important years of Michael Jackson's life, the next chapter has enormous potential. The first movie showed us how a young performer became the king of pop. Now, the sequel has the chance to tell the unforgettable story of what happened after the world already knew his name.